Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Lost in Translation Mon. This time we're covering Digimon Adventure: 2020, episode 59, Bolt, Hercules Kabuterimon. I'm May, and this week I'm joined by the lovely Quinn.
Hi.
And the lovely Chloe.
Hey there.
And the lovely Evie is not joining us again this week, but she'll be sending through her notes, so we'll be able to sort of talk to her, but in a different way. And if you can tell, I'm having trouble putting a few words together because I got a new puppy yesterday and did not sleep much because new puppies need to go outside like every hour. So, yay, that's a thing, but also very tired. Another bit of housekeeping, it's Odaiba Day today. For the next, few hours, I guess. It's 7 o'clock at night, Odaiba Day, and it's just Odaiba Day for Quinn and Chloe now. Yep. So, happy boppity Odaiba Day.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What's happening?
Well, Chloe, there is a video that I released this morning that you can watch that will explain.
Oh my.
So, that's a plug for my video that I did this morning, which was explaining what Odaiba Day is. So, thank you so much for that wonderful segue there. Mm-hmm. But so Chloe, and we'll have to watch that. And if you want to know what Odaiba Day is, you too will have to watch it. Or if you just want to watch it, then you can watch it. Mm-hmm. Or not. I'm not your dad. Or am I?
You know,
anyway,
with the number of times you managed to say watch it while also telling me you weren't telling me what to do, you could definitely be my dad.
Oh, no. Oh, yikes. Oh, woof.
Yep.
Woof. Okay,
and
I guess
then
that's it for the
everyone
podcast
got
tonight.
sad.
And then everyone cried a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I feel bad just saying let's move on to the synopsis.
But we should
that, I just
probably
feel
move
bad.
on to the synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do the thing. The episode starts up with Nanomon, who's looking at a monitor and has lots of photos of Koshiro, so he's basically the Koshiro stan. And we find out that Nanomon is surrounded by Soundbirdmon, who are seemingly controlling him. So welcome back, Soundbirdmon, who have last been up, I think they were last in episode 50. I'm on the fence with if I want them here or not. Like, on one hand, it's nice that they're keeping something consistent in the show, like the Soundbirdmon existing and taking over
But they just,
the mind of someone.
They put Devimon on pause for 40 episodes.
Yes, that too.
Yeah,
and also,
I was not on the show regularly during the Devimon arc. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has.
It's
but
been
also,
a year.
I feel like it's the show saying that the Soundbirdmon were not actually controlled by Devimon, and that they were never minions of Devimon. They were kind of just there because of the Great Catastrophe, whatever that is.
Just kind of causing shit of their own volition.
See, I think it's just going to turn out that Devimon worked for Vamdemon.
Oh, I think Apoclymon, or this show's version of Apoclymon.
But I want it to be Vamdemon.
Yeah. Oh, I want to be the same Vamdemon.
I want it to be the same Vamdemon.
Yeah, well, these kids are slightly more awful. Maybe I'll have more luck with them. This Taichi has no personality.
So I was actually a little unclear. So was it then the Soundbirdmon who were giving Jigsaw-kun the L virus, making him work for Leviathan, or why was he just spoilers good at the end?
Yeah, that's Soundbirdmon.
That is unfortunately
the L virus.
the thing you said.
That's it.
That is. Huh? Did you ever watch the first season of Digimon Adventure?
No.
Okay. 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 L virus is the best way to say it then, because I guess it even looks a bit like the L virus. And if you don't know what the L virus is, watch Atmon.
It's real good.
Yeah. But basically, L virus is Black Gear, is Soundbirdmon.
Is conveniently evil enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it brainwashes them by being present, basically. So, yeah, Soundbirdmon
Which is
there.
super OP to have as an entire species.
Especially because, they don't seem to get destroyed that often.
No one targets them for no reason. They should be the
just
most
fly off into
feared
distance.
and reviled things in existence.
They're basically just literal plague rats.
Yeah. And I feel like there's literally the same, bunch of 30 Soundbirdmon in the whole show, because I don't think we've really destroyed all that many.
Yeah, maybe once or twice, but back in episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the start of the show, when we were introducing them, I think that they were like, hey, let's aim for the Soundbirdmon, and then they did. but then we never touched on it since, because that's kind of what this show does. It touches on things in the same way that, like, I'll touch on some sunburn while I'm putting some aloe vera on or something, which is to say, I kind of just put the aloe vera on and hope that it works.
Yep.
That is a really tortured metaphor.
But
yeah, it is. But it works. Like, it's not... You're barely making contact. You're enough to put the lotion on the skin. That's about it.
Or else he gets the hose again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the show deserves the hose.
It so
really
does.
Someone put it out of its misery already. How many episodes?
Yeah, with
are
a
left?
after
This was what, 58?
I don't know.
66?
59.
Okay, so 7.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I feel like simultaneously it's just been dragging on forever, and then I also have no idea how they're gonna make a satisfying closing like arc in just 7 remaining episodes.
I think it's going to
They
go more than
won't.
66 at this point, because either it's not going to be satisfying, or they really are making a season 2, which is what Atogumi is. But again, there's still
I think regardless, it's going to be a
Yep.
very unsatisfying last episode of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I already have some predictions about it, which I will explain more after this episode, because it kind of ties into that. So anyway, meanwhile, Koshiro's arrived at the place where Tentomon became Alakabuterimon for the first time, and Tentomon, we learn, has bad bed hair.
It was cute.
It's
It
very
was
cute.
We refer to it several times without ever, like, resolving or
Chekhov's
doing
gun.
it at all, which is a little
It was-
weird, but I guess it's fine.
But-
Yeah.
I mean, it plays into later on, we realise that water can be a reflection too, and Koshiro has like a Mulan, but also a Yamato looking into the reflection to see Taichi and then deciding to kill his friend because a tree told him to. Like, reflections are weird in Digimon.
Yeah.
So we have
Wait, does that
them arriving
not
at that same
happen
place,
when
which is
you
nice.
look into ponds?
Yeah, I don't typically get told to kill people, and I don't typically have a break into song. I don't know.
Yeah, I learned very early not to go to ponds with Quinn.
Jeez. Anyway, so we then have Agumon and Taichi show up, because of course we do.
Yeah, okay.
Like, it's 1 minute.
Less than 30 seconds into the freaking episode, too.
And, what a coincidence that you're here, Taichi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just go away. It's not a coincidence.
Your
You
job
follow
here
everyone.
is to be a sacrifice.
Well, at least he had a purpose this episode,
Yeah, like, to be fair, at least he was just able to play damsel in distress, basically, the whole episode.
which is great.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was. I'm glad that, like, this. If any of the episodes had to have Taichi in them,
That's how
it's
it has
this
to be.
episode. So I'm fine with Taichi being in this episode. It's
I
just
will
getting
say,
to the
I
point where it's
really
funny.
wish that they would have just kidnapped Taichi instead of kidnapping Waymon.
What, you wanted
But-
Nanomon to be
Yeah, I was
inside Taichi the whole time?
Come on. Quinn.
Nanomon could have been conveniently in a cave the whole time.
Or conveniently
We're not.
nano-sized,
We're doing 4
maybe?
again. We're not doing 4 this episode. Actually, we did. He was in his blowhole, and kind of in a.
Yeah,
in
so
a-
it's
a
not
weird
4,
sort of, like,
but it's
dimension.
its own very specific fetish.
He was in the blowhole dimension. I don't know, but I kind of like that because it's the same as, you know.
I kinda
Waymon
hate
just
that.
has
Do
like
you, do you now, Anna? Is that what works
Waymon
for you?
is no. I'm just saying he's a TARDIS, like, because whenever we see inside of Waymon, it's always like significantly larger than the actual Waymon.
Oh, yeah.
Except for maybe in Original Adventure, I think that like
Yeah,
it was, like, a
Original
small
Adventure
space.
was just like you're literally just hanging out on my tongue, although has the most terrifying digestive system.
I believe it.
Yeah.
It's just Digimon doesn't know how to do scale at all.
No, it really doesn't. They
Yeah.
got that from Ava.
Ava can do scale.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I enjoy going to the Ava wiki where they're like, here are all the various heights we have confirmed for Unit 1.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think that's
You got
That
hilarious.
is
me
great.
there. You got me there. Yeah.
I just love the amount of time that someone would put into that. But
I
anyway, we're
love
not
that
an Evangelion
so
podcast.
much.
Yep.
So
Okay,
yeah,
but they're at
we
least
have
better at making it look
yep.
like it's all to scale.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, you should see Outlook Kabuterimon in the first season of Adventure, constantly changing sizes. At one point, big as a planet. Another point, just kind of a little bit bigger than a person.
Oh my God.
It varies. Anyway, yeah, it's intense. So Nanomon then calls out for Koshiro and says that he loves knowledge too and he wants to challenge him. So we're getting another sort of like Digimon challenges the main character, but this time with less plot. So we have
And
Nanomon.
so much less nuance.
Yeah, but at least it's not just a Taichi and Agumon episode. So
Barely.
Nanomon has Waymon captive, and it's the one that Koshiro met and the network at the start of the show, which I don't even remember, but I'm
I
glad
do
that we're
remember
doing...
that, but, like, wow, that's a real reach.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad that we're doing all these callbacks to things that happen at the start of the show, except for the one thing that I wish that they called back in this episode at the start, that they called back to at the start of the show, but they didn't call back to in this episode.
We also, I don't know
very-
what you're talking about, but I'm mad that in what is effectively Koshiro's last episode of the season, we still haven't revealed that he's adopted.
Yep. Oh, 100%. I'm talking about that. Like, I was so convinced that there would be, like, at least a
They
nod
didn't
to
even
it in this
slip
episode.
it in, nothing.
They didn't even slip it in. They didn't even have any, like, him having, like, when he mentions, like, and I know I'm jumping ahead, my apologies. My brain's so fried, I'd be like, I might even forget it. But when he says, oh, the past, I was like, aha, the past.
No.
Yeah, right.
No.
Absolutely not.
And not like that
The
at all.
past, like,
So-
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, the past, like, you know, in this show. But anyway, that's a thing, and it's annoying, but I have more to say about that, believe me. Like, I was so convinced that would that we would get some nod to it. I said that I'd make a video about it not happening if it didn't happen, and then it didn't happen, and I had to make a video. So I will also link that in the link dump, along with my Odaiba Day video. Yeah, so a little bit of salt there. But anyway, so there's also Grand Kuwagamon. So I definitely think that, like, at the start of the show I was like, okay, so is he inside Waymon or like is he on Grand Kuwagamon? Like, I was kind of like, he must be inside like Waymon's like pocket dimension, right? And then yep, spoilers, but he is.
Yep.
So yay me! I figured out a children's show. I'm so smart. So yeah, he
You know, I want to congratulate you on solving a riddle, except these were, like, barely riddles.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up during my lowlights, if not before, but what the hell were these riddles? They were just
This
so
was
bad.
some what is in my pocket bullshit.
Yeah, this is very much just
Yeah.
like...
One of the hints was literally, take the bridge that is real.
Yeah. And
Like-
there's fire.
Don't
Good luck.
walk off a cliff.
Yeah.
Don't die. That's a hint.
Don't dead open inside.
Don't dead open inside. That's my riddle. Anyway, so we have Nanomon saying that he set up a dungeon with traps and riddles, and then Koshiro gets a riddle sent to his tablet. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking it's weird that Taichi and Agumon are accompanying Koshiro on this test, because they keep on, like, jumping forward and, like, trying to solve it for Koshiro, which defeats the purpose of the test. Like, I feel like Nanomon should have said, hey, you're not allowed that, but then
We needed to
Later on,
establish
when he gets
that Tai
kidnapped.
is still very stupid.
yeah, but
That's
I
That was
feel
the
like
entire reason.
I feel like they made him stupider to make Koshiro seem smarter,
Exactly what I was going to say. Yep.
which is weird because
Well,
Koshiro
we're
didn't actually
really
seem smart.
reaching to make Koshiro seem smart, and it mostly just made them both look like dumbasses.
Yeah, I mean, look, what's Koshiro's crest? Because I always thought it was a crest of knowledge, but apparently this episode thinks it's the crest of, like, believing in yourself.
Pretty much.
Which, yeah. But
The
anyway,
crest of,
Yep.
there's an extremely simple pattern to these riddles.
yeah.
It's the
Like,
crest of
I mean, I
pattern.
really liked the Atla Kabuterimon episode. I feel like that was a good way to display knowledge because it was him saying he couldn't rely on his tablet and the internet anymore. He had to rely on his actual intelligence.
It's a lot like
I
last
liked
week
that way.
where they opened on, hey, remember when there was a pretty good episode?
Yeah, I liked that. I
Me
liked the
either.
callbacks to the good episodes. So we have Taichi and Agumon just going headfirst into everything, and he gets kidnapped, and they find out they were meant to ride this geyser up to proceed and not just go across it. And Nanomon said that he'll turn Taichi into a Nanomon, and I'm like, good, finally we get some character development for Taichi. And I just feel like this is very Prisoner of the Pyramid episode from Digimon Adventure.
It is, and
The
I'm
original.
glad that Sora's not the victim, but it's
Oh, yeah.
also, I mean, Chloe's made the joke already, but it's so just really bad children's Saw.
Yeah, yeah, that. But also, I feel like I know that Vatamon was the...
Oh, I got it. It's 4 persons,
character-
4 puzzles,
Yep.
4 riddles.
Mhm.
9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors. Which,
Is
if you
that
haven't played it, you
song?
should.
Wait, oh, no, okay.
It's a DS game that was
I've heard of it.
really weird and very good. It had puzzles.
I never played it, but I know that Jay did, and he said it was good.
One of the few times
said
that Jay
Atmon's
was
good.
actually pretty right.
He said Atmon was good too. That's
He
another
did.
time.
Atmon is good.
Atmon is good. Everyone just watch Atmon. I wish we could be watching Atmon right now.
Oh, me too.
But also, 59 episodes, that's more than Atmon had.
Yeah, and the
which
ending
is a
of
good thing
Atmon's
and a bad
actually
thing.
good.
Yeah, I like that. Anyway,
Slightly
so the
poignant
next
even.
riddle...
Mhm.
Yeah. So the next riddle involves crossing a flame, which they're able to do so because it's actually fake. And again, I'm reminded by the Prisoner of the Pyramid, because Taichi had to, like, jump through fire and be brave. Like, there was, like, a wall of, like, electric current, and he kind of had to put his hand through that. And I just feel like this is just the same thing as that episode, but it's not Taichi being brave, it's Koshiro.
And it's not very brave because the fire, like, really, really looks not real the whole time. Both times we use it.
Yeah, both times. And then we have them having to dance for the next part, but Koshiro realizes, not because of him thinking, but because he accidentally falls and makes a noise, and that makes him think about it. So again, I feel like that's not necessarily he didn't think of it straight away. That's a little bit of a coincidence. Like I don't feel like we get much of him showing his knowledge in this. It's more like showing his convenience,
Like
of
situational
plot.
awareness, almost, even.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Yeah, like the, oh, by the way, a waltz is 3/4 time is, I guess, you know, a thing he knew, but doesn't inspire all that much. Wow, what a knowledgeable kid.
Yeah.
In
Or,
me.
you know,
But
like,
he,
I stepped here and heard the echo. That must be the echo that the riddle talked about.
yeah. But the other thing is, like, I feel like a lot of the answers to the riddles, even if they were just, like, half answers, he got them from the tablet. Like, he was able to see
Yeah.
which of the tunnels had wind coming out of them.
I mean, in fairness, I don't have a better way to deal with that than what they did, except, like, I mean, they very easily could have, except we'd have had to take a few minutes on the puzzles, and we sure weren't gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I mean, they could have just not had any puzzles and just had him come to
But then
terms
how
with,
would
like,
they
it
have
being
shown how smart he is?
It's true, it's
But
true.
have it be like a mental dungeon where he has to, like, go through each door, and each door is like a memory, and then he's working out why he has a thirst for knowledge, and, like, he just learns about it, like, he puts 2 and 2 together and gets, oh, I'm adopted. Like,
See, that would be good, though.
Yeah.
like, but that's not even that. Like, I'm not a writer or anything. Like, I'm not saying that that'd be, like, I could write better than this, because I probably couldn't, because it's not my job to write things. But, like, just
That
why
little
are we
plot
not
arc there
bringing
that
up
you just,
parents?
like, threw out the top of your head was, like, way better than this episode, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like, I unironically do think you could write better dialogue than this episode.
Maybe I would just have Koshiro saying, "Hey Taichi, why are you here? Go away." Like, I don't know. That's the extent to my dialogue. But anyway.
I maintain this episode would have felt like it had some stakes if Tai had just already been kidnapped when it started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that works. Like him saying, "I have your friend," and then I'll turn him into an Anamon. And that's basically it. That's just like we just have
Yeah.
Taichi knocking against a wall.
He
Like,
then
that's what he
has
does.
to believe in himself and can think about Tai in a definitely not homoerotic way.
And also he thinks about being adopted.
Sure.
Just
yeah,
just
that
one,
makes
just a little
sense.
bit.
Just a little bit, as a treat.
Yeah, have a little adoption as a treat. Like, I don't know, he's touched on, like at this point I was kind of wondering, hey, did I just imagine that they addressed this at any point? But they did. They mentioned it when they were back home for,
Yeah,
like,
no,
a few
he totally
episodes
went,
during the
"Hey,
boat plot."
everybody, I have something I really want to tell you," and then we got separated and had to do Tai Chi.
Yeah. And that's not fun.
And the wild part for me is that I just have to take both of your words for this, because, like, I don't know that this ever happened. You might just be pulling my leg here. I don't know.
It's been addressed twice, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I
very,
think twice,
very
definitely.
briefly, and in ways where if you're a child and haven't seen The Thing from 1999, you'd have missed it anyway.
Yeah, like he says, there's something with my family. And then he also is thinking about it in, like, I think the Kabuterimon debut episode.
Something like that.
I think it's, like, touched on that there's a normal amount of, like, slightness. like what you'd expect in like episode 4.
Yeah, they
But
foreshadowed
then they
a
never
thing.
come back. They foreshadowed the thing and then forgot to continue it.
Uh-huh.
It does sound pretty
So-
on brand, but I'm still going to be wary
Yeah.
of being punked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope they bring it up, but this, I mean, I have theories about it. So, Nanomon reminds them of the time remaining, and this causes Koshiro to make an impulsive decision, which is incorrect, and Agumon gets kidnapped. Koshiro can't find Tentomon. Nanomon releases the penalty, but Tentomon
There's
saves
one
him
thing
because he was just
Koshiro's
unconscious.
known for, it's being really impulsive.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah, like,
he
this was-
said, you're taking a while, huh? And
You still have
who could
15
resist
minutes.
that?
Like, it's still 15 minutes, and you've solved, like, 2 riddles
Yeah, like,
out
you're
of 4?
doing fine.
Yeah.
He gave you 20 minutes, and you've only used up like a few minutes of that.
No,
Like, I'm
he
fairly-
used half the time, but that's fine.
To
No,
get
he
through
said,
half
like,
the puzzle.
Totally normal average.
No, I'm fairly certain that at this point Nanomon says you've got 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then they
So,
had a half
but-
hour.
No, I thought it was like 20 minutes.
I was pretty sure they said
Our
30 at the
subtitles
beginning,
said
but
30, I think, yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay then.
Not
Then
to
it is.
necessarily say
It is a
might
time,
have just been
but still,
a mistranslation.
you've only got 2 more riddles, and that's fine to have half the time left.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you're on par.
Like, that works fine. So then we have Koshiro feeling helpless and saying it's all his fault, but Tentomon says that he believes in him and how he shouldn't give up. And what I'm noticing is that the animation's not too good in this episode, but Tentomon, for some reasons, like the best drawn out of everyone.
Yes.
Like, he's
on
got
both
such
accounts.
emotion.
Yep.
I love Tentomon. Then Tentomon fixes his bed hair again, and Koshiro wonders when his reflection will show who he is inside, and it turns out that Koshiro's crest
Why
is just
would
the
you
crest of
assume that,
believing in
buddy?
himself. Yeah. And they jump into the water, and Tentomon evolves underwater, which means that they don't have to animate it.
Yep.
Yep. That's what happens. And now they have to fight Grand Kuwagamon, because the last riddle is just like, fight Grand Kuwagamon, apparently. And then we have the late...
The last riddle
Yep.
is fight Grand Kuwagamon and realize that you still haven't done the whole tag you it thing.
Yep.
But also, like, come on, why is the last, like, if you're up to some grand machinations here, like, why is your last riddle, hey, here's where I'm at, come get me? Come on.
Yeah. That is a point. That is a point. It was meant to be like,
Well-
you have to solve my riddles and then find me.
But, like, you're evil because of the Soundbirdmon, and the way you express that is with...
By playing fair? By
Yeah.
saying, here's where I'm at?
Yeah. Like, it actually... I mean, it is kind of sweet later on when he's good and he hugs Koshiro and he's like a huge fan because he's heard of him from Garbamon, who is his
Oh,
friend.
no,
Like, that's really
that part's
cute.
lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
But-
that you should have your villains have a consistent motivation within
like,
the scope
honestly-
of a single episode.
It's too much to ask.
Do the Soundbirdmon don't really do much. Like, he plays fair. Like,
Yeah,
if
it's
you
just-
remove the Soundbirdmon,
In
it's just
the
normal.
Soundbird,
It's just,
right, like, I can very easily believe that a totally not evil Nanomon would have done this, but, you know, then
Just
we
without
needed
the
to raise the
kidnapping.
stakes and add some kidnapping and death to it.
Yeah.
Which,
Like, it would be fine.
yeah.
But you could just have, like, you don't have to have, like, an evil Nanomon. You can still have a Nanomon who kidnaps and turns
You can
humans
have
into
this
Nanomon.
Nanomon be, like, you know, the same exact person and just issue this challenge. Mm-hmm. And then you
Yeah,
don't need
which
tie.
is reasonable. Yeah.
But then
And
you'd have
then also
someone-
reference appearance.
You'd have someone activating their crest without going through significant strife to do so.
Just address
can
the
we do
parents. The strife is the parents. What's a parents? I don't know what a parents are
What is-
anymore.
The strife was
We haven't-
inside you all along.
There's a Homestuck reference in there somewhere, but I'm just too tired to think of it.
That's okay.
Anyway.
Homestuck guy
Excel
is an
world
asshole.
reference there.
So then we have the probably one of the most lazily animated evolutions we've probably had this whole season, which is just like a purple orb flies in the sky with the crest of knowledge, and then Kabuterimon becomes Atla Kabuterimon.
Yep.
Yep. I'm glad
And
that
it's
you're
just-
also bringing
it's really
this up
weird.
because I actually took notes when watching this time on stuff I wanted to make sure I talked about, and the laziness of the first 2 evolutions was high on that list. Like,
And I also noticed that Agumon didn't get an evolution at all during this episode, which is I'm glad
Finally,
about
thank
because it
God.
would have made it even seem weird.
yeah, because
Like if we
it
just
would've
had
been good.
orbs.
Yeah. Like, I know
Yeah.
you don't care for the CGI, but the CGI is significantly better than what anyone else gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Except for when Mimi gets, like, the
Well,
magical girl
Mimi
transformations.
obviously is different.
Yeah. Like, someone on the writing staff and animating team definitely likes Mimi. I'm really glad that they're there.
Yeah, although I wish that Hikari were getting her, like, budget and main characterness.
Yeah, that would be nice. So then we have them fighting with the Grand Kouagamon, and then Koshiro sees Waimon and remembers that the riddle references the past, and I'm like, alright, we're doing it, we're doing the backstory with his parents, alright, and no. It's just where Naonomon's located. He's inside Waimon.
Yeah, remember
And
earlier
then-
this episode? That's the past I'm talking about.
And this realization makes Kabuterimon evolve, and also Koshiro's like, but when you have friends that you're strong when you have friends that believe in you, and that makes him evolve.
Yep.
That's when
That's
your
knowledge?
true knowledge shines, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is just like that's a stretch. That is
Real knowledge was the friends we made along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is not any, because you can't tell any characters about them. Like,
Yep.
well, what are their characters? Like, you know things about your friends. These are not friends. They're co-workers that you don't really talk to.
Yeah, they're colleagues. You punch in, punch out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you hung out with them
Yeah.
after work one time.
How about that weather? Yeah.
Yeah, but nope, you just apparently decide to make some fake fires to get Nanomon to escape, which I have to admit is fairly clever. Like, I like this
Yeah,
part.
but
Like,
we had time to run a video editing program,
Yeah.
hack into a video feed, and put up a picture of Tentomon and a, like, maintenance notification first.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
What is this?
Also, yeah,
Well, you know what?
I cannot be convinced that in under 5 minutes, any, like, even automated software would be able to take a video of fake flames on a bridge and completely remove all the background, but keep, like, the, transparency
I
of the
think
flames
it's just
and
data.
everything, and just,
I think the best way to say it is because it's data, because they're in the digital world and you can just move data like that.
That.
It's not a good reason. Yeah, it's not.
like,
It's not like
even-
a
it
good
even
reason.
showed, like, the alpha background when he was clicking and dragging the flames over on top of Whalemon.
Oh yeah. Like it's I mean, I didn't hate it. Like it was definitely fine, but
I don't hate the idea of it.
I
I
don't
just
know.
hate the thought that it could be done in 5 minutes when they were, like, trying to make
Yeah.
a point of it being, hey, you're in a time crunch. And then they're like, hey, you're in a time crunch, but instead of, touching you while you're literally right there, allow me to explain how I solved everything. And just,
Then be surprised when you're actually not evil.
I mean, slight semi-related tangent, but like and I know that I don't like going back on what Adventure like 1999 had versus what this had. But something I really liked about the original Adventure is because they were always thinking about their parents because they're like children and they would probably miss their parents just a little bit, or at least someone from the world that's not there. But no one has really mentioned their parents for a long time. The only character who has mentioned family is Mimi.
Yep, we got a real
Which
Kingdom Hearts
is
vibe.
weird.
Parents maybe exist for one line.
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of,
And-
so, this is maybe a weird question to be asking this late in the series, but considering I haven't been here for all of it, they are in the digital world, and there is a real world that they'll hypothetically go back to, right?
Yeah, we
Yes.
started the series there.
Okay.
And they also went back to the real world, and we had like 10 seconds of like characters talking about how their parents reacted to them being gone in like 3 days.
We also
One of the
at one
characters
point
said that like
really wanted to eat a burger. It
Yeah,
was the best
at one
character
point,
that
a lot.
episode.
yeah, and then that's basically it. So they're not really like talking about what they need at home anymore. Like Joe stopped realizing he had to study. The only character who has referenced the real world is like Takeru referencing like him having a life with his brother and Mimi having a grandfather.
These poor children have
And
had to
that's it.
become independent young adults at the age of, like, 8.
Oh, that was every season of Digimon. Like they're all like becoming warriors, but they are still like you would think about their parents.
Yeah, I would imagine that they would at least, like, be like, oh gosh, I miss, just, like, getting ice cream after school at least or something. But nah, they're just like, now we're here to do a job, people.
Yeah, Adventure did that a lot, like the original Adventure. Also, the dub kept on like inventing Mimi's family members. Like, she has a brother, a sister, a cat, and a dog. And then you go to the real world, like, in 20 episodes' time, and she's an only child without any pets. It is wild. Thanks, English dub. You're a treasure. So Mimi's just this liar, which I kind of, like,
You
I
know
like
what?
that as an additional
absolutely
thing.
fits the 99
Like-
dub character.
Yeah, I love that. So anyway,
She also
Nanomon
just
and Grand
stole a
Quagmon.
bunch of hiking equipment once.
Wow.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, Nanomon and Grand Quagmon attempt to escape, but Hercules Kabuterimon defeats Grand Quagmon, and then we learn that Nanomon is Garbamon's friend. He was just under control of the Soundbirdmon, and it's kind of great that they're relevant again, but at the same time,
They
why?
really
I mean, I
shouldn't be.
guess great catastrophe, but whatever. Like, Taichi says how
I wish I
Soundbirdmon
cared
were
what the
Devimon's
great
minions.
catastrophe is going to turn out to be.
Oh yeah, same. I'm just like, it brings us further to watching this again,
Yep.
which is great. Anyway, so Koshiro gets his crest symbol on his Digivice and the episode ends, and in the encyclopedia we're learning about Hercules Kabuterimon. Tentomon introduces himself, which is cute. I love it when the Digimon introduces themselves.
Yeah.
That's great. And then he talks about how he's built, like how he's got the big wings, and he's promising Koshiro a safe ride. And we get Vikemon next time in the encyclopedia. So now that we're done discussing the synopsis, let's discuss the discussion. So what were our highlights? Come on, there must be... I had
Tentomon was
highlights.
kind of adorable.
Oh yeah, Tentomon, like, I love the relationship between Tentomon and Koshiro.
Mm-hmm.
I think they mesh really well. I like how they're supporting themselves. I feel like they had a believable friendship in this episode, which is really nice. Like, it wasn't just like, this is a monster who has no personality, and the personality is just, like, based off this human. And otherwise they're just evolution batteries. But they actually felt like they both had characters, and I liked that. But I also really liked Tentomon. Tentomon's just great in this episode.
Yeah, Tentomon's Chekhov's bedhead gun stuff was really good. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, that was cute. And also, bedhead. Bedhead. But, like, I
do
feel
wish
like
they
that
had
line...
actually
Yep.
given the antenna something off in the model.
Give it, like, a cowlick
That would have been very cute.
or something. That would have been so cute. If you can draw, please draw, like... Or even if you can't, and just like, you want to draw a Tentomon, just give us different versions of Tentomon having bared hair. Just,
Also,
like, what
Tentomon
if
with
it...
various hairstyles.
Yes, please.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure at one point Tentomon has been jealous of Garudamon's hair.
Yep.
So that's fine. I love that. So I love Tentomon. But basically, yeah, my highlight was Tentomon. I really do like their friendship. That's really cool. I like how we're calling back previous episodes of Digimon. That's why at the start of this episode I was kind of like, oh, we're definitely getting some backstory here, because look at all these things we're calling back to. We're calling back to the Atlas Kabuterimon debut. We're calling back to the Kabuterimon debut. We're just calling back to things that have happened before. That's great. That's great groundwork. What else are we going to call back to? Oh, nothing.
Yep, we are going to give you literally nothing. Trade offer.
The
You
answer
get
was
nostalgia for
Soundbirdmon.
earlier episodes.
Yeah.
I give
Like-
nothing, you get nostalgia.
I mean, is it nostalgia if it's like a year ago?
I mean, I have nostalgia for back when I had high hopes for this series.
Oh, I kind of want to re-listen to our first episode. We're all like, yeah, Taichi's great. Oh, we love this Taichi. This Taichi's so much better than the original
but
Taichi.
even
I
that
feel
episode, we
so
were
bad.
like, God, I hope this doesn't become the Tai Chi show. And I was like, it's gonna be.
Yeah, but look, if Taichi was a likable character, then I wouldn't mind it being the Taichi show.
But he's not.
Like-
Which brings me to my next highlight, which is at least
Oh, yeah?
Taichi got to spend most of his time this episode locked in a prison that also muffled his voice.
I wish we'd forgotten him
Oh
there.
yeah, that's my favorite. Like, yeah, Koshiro's just like, and then we left.
Yep.
And then Nanomon, because he's not... Look, because Nanomon's not brainwashed anymore and seems to not have any memory of what happened, how did Taichi get out?
They
Yeah,
have
that-
to have told him, right?
But Taichi's there. We get Nanomon out, and Nanomon's just like, oh, I was good the whole time. How did I get here? I know you, Koshiro. I'm gonna hug you, which is adorable, by the way.
You got a good point.
And-
Yeah, that was my next highlight. Was good Nanomon is adorable.
Yep.
Yeah, and Friends of Garbamon, who is one of my favorites. I went from, not liking Garbamon at all because he's, the poo monster, but this season made me like Garbamon. So does it say a lot about the show if this show made me like the garbage? I say yes. But I like Garbamon now because that was a cute episode. Nanomon was cute in this episode. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do have highlights about this episode. I do like it. And yes, Taichi actually being there, I have no problems with this time, or more or less, sort of. Because
it'd
he
been
got
better
kidnapped.
if he weren't, but sure.
Yeah, at least they obviously they have to write him into every episode. That's kind of obvious now. Mm-hmm. But at least I feel like they used him better because previous episodes, he's been in the episode not doing anything. Like, in the last chunk of episode, he's just been there. And if you removed him, nothing would change. In this episode, if you removed him, there's no stakes. You'd have to rewrite the episode. Which,
only to
again,
a small degree,
that could be
I
good.
think, though, it could be some other thing of moderate value.
Or a random person they met.
Yeah, or just, anything alive to just be like, yeah, he's a good guy. He sees someone in trouble and wants to help.
Literally just Waymon.
Yeah.
And also, wasn't Koshiro just, learning all these things about the Great Catastrophe? I feel like Koshiro should have mentioned something about that, but this episode was filler.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was
previously
technically
had
not
really good
filler
filler.
because it had an evolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I don't really have any highlights, but, I just want to stress that while I seemed pretty down about this episode, I did like things about it, mainly Tentomon and Nanomon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
and Taichi being
captive.
captive.
Not entirely lacking in charm, but I really wish we were doing something better with our last stretch of episodes.
Yeah, that's kind of where I fell.
Oh, yeah.
I'm right there with you because, it's not like there was nothing bad here. I had 2 highlights on my list, but I also have 7 bullet points in my lowlights. So it's it's not really what you want to see towards the end of the series.
No, this episode could well and truly been 20 episodes ago. Same with all this chunk of episodes.
Yeah, this should easily have been episode 25.
Oh yeah, well maybe not 25 because we're getting to Mega. I feel like that would have been too early, but if it was 20 episodes ago,
as little as we've had to do
39.
to earn that, but we could also easily have just made that be the Alter Capitarimon episode, and it's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I did like the Capitarimon episode though. That was, I remember, I think that's one of the episodes we all have in our top 10 for memory.
Mm-hmm.
It was solid. I want more of that, please. So, I guess, lowlight time? Chloe, do you want to take us away since you have the lowlights?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so first on the lowlights list is that this is going to be me as the Digimon scrub here who doesn't know any of the history or significance of this stuff, but I kind of hate that the glowing crest stuff has just come to mean, this is a convenient plot device or not as necessary. Sometimes their Digivice starts glowing and it, powers them up or allows them a new evolution. And sometimes it just kind of dings and says, hey, you're done. And I wish they could be a little bit more consistent about that.
I agree. Yeah.
Next step, which I had already mentioned, is that, literally 30 seconds into the episode, it's just here's Taichi, hey.
Yeah, it's funny.
Mm-hmm. There was one point where we were watching it and Quinn literally said out loud, oh, right, Waymon is still being held hostage. I forgot, and I feel like that was very worth making note of at the time.
We're sure not that we're concerned about the 30-minute time limit, but not that concerned about the monster, our friend, being tortured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Koshiro just, as soon as Taichi was kidnapped, the
that
attention kind of went. I think it was because you were meant to forget that Waymon was there because Nanomon was inside Waymon.
Oh, I guess maybe.
I guess, but
I feel like I'm giving them. I'm looking for ways to give them credit there.
You're distracting from your own initial plot device to give Taichi more screen time.
That I named my smart scales Waymon?
That's good.
It's in the same way I've named my Chromecast Monochromon.
Yikes.
So, sorry, just brain fried. That's all I could think about because I forgot what things that happened. But anyway, yep, continue with the lowlights.
Next lowlight is that something else we kind of touched on earlier, which is the riddles make absolutely no sense to me for the most part. And maybe it's, better if you understand a bit more Japanese than I do or something. But, like, the last riddle, even after watching it the second time, I still don't really get how they made some of those jumps to be like, oh, yeah, obviously this means to jump into this big-ass lake with a big ball of purple energy around me we don't have to do an animation for an evolution.
To be fair on the show, like, sometimes riddles are, like, very much just, like, you kind of have to, like, take pretty big leaps.
I suppose.
So, like, I mean, that does happen. Like, it's not all, like, Brain Fried. There's, like, the one that the Sphinx asks, and it's, like, about what has a body but doesn't have a body or something. I don't know. I mean, look, my favourite riddle is, and I'll see if y'all know it, I'll see if I can get it to come from my brain to my mouth box. So, what? I almost just said the answer to the riddle. Okay. What is a 3-letter word that you add just one letter to the end and it becomes a 3-syllable word? So it's a 1-syllable 3-letter word that becomes a 3-syllable word with one extra letter on the end.
I've certainly not heard this one before.
It's got to be an acronym of some sort, like
no, it's not. No, it's a word. No, it's a word. They're both very common words, and you put the letter on the end.
Do we know what the letter that's being added is, or no? Sorry, I don't remember that.
It's just one letter.
Just one letter, but it could be any letter.
Any letter. If you give up, I can reveal.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, because this is not great podcast.
Okay. Well, maybe it is. Maybe someone really likes riddles. Okay, I mean, I'm going to give the answer. So if you want to pause this episode and have a think, you can. And here's the answer. The word that is 3 letters is "are." The word that you add to the end of... Yeah, it's area. So it's "are," as in you are great, becomes area, like, an area. I am in the area. I don't know. So that's a thing.
Good.
So there we are. There's my riddle that I heard on MapleStory when I was 12 years old and thought it was the best thing ever. And now it is never leaving my brain box.
I want to clarify for those, playing at home that it is 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it is brain no work time for me, but it is good.
Let me just power through the rest of my lowlights real quick here then, because I've only got a couple left. I really hated Jigsaw-kun, aka Nanomon's, human eye.
That's fair.
I love it. I mean, that is fair.
I hated how, as a weird animation thing, his robot eye lit up when he talked instead of his, mouth opening or anything that would make sense.
No, I love it.
That.
You back off.
I've thought
my
that's amazing
weird...
for the last 20 years.
I mean, it just...
My weird...
As soon as
I love him so much.
I couldn't unnotice it. And then the last thing is that I noticed it looks like we're getting... Sexual Assault Mon is still going to be with Joe and the team next episode.
Yep.
Which I'm really not looking forward to.
Yeah, I did notice that, and that was kind of like... Oh, and he didn't have Soundbirdmon controlling him, the Shogun Gekamon. He was just terrible.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it worse when we could have just dropped this could be the Soundbirdmon arc. But nope, no, not doing version 2 of that.
Nope.
Shogun Gekamon, just terrible. Any other lowlights?
But we won't. We're not a taxi service.
Oh, can I move on to my lowlights, or you still got some, Chloe?
No, I'm all good. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so, I mean, my main lowlight is kind of obvious that we didn't touch on the parents, and at this point, which that sounds very wrong out of context. We did not touch on the parents. The parents being the adoptive parents not being touched on makes me think that we'll get sort of one episode where everyone's character backstory, development, etc. is lumped into like a motivational speech.
That's gonna be Atogumi and then everybody goes home and sees their parents.
Yeah, we're gonna have a character arc resolution montage.
No, I was thinking like, again, Chloe didn't watch the original adventure, but in the last episode of Digimon Adventure, the second last rather, the end of it, they are faced with the ultimate bad guy, and the ultimate bad guy takes away their crests, and without their crest, their Digimon can't evolve. So they're kind of just like sitting in like purgatory, which is like nothing space.
They're literally killed and sent to the dimension where you go when you die in the digital world, I guess. And
Where
then
it's
they
just
come
white
back.
space.
Yeah, in the beginning that was pink
Yeah.
space.
And it was beautiful.
So they are all floating there, and then they realize that their crests were there all along. So I feel like we're just going to get them all having, like, the moment of, like, recalling their crests, and Koshiro's just like, I'm adopted! And that will be his point of it. And, like, I feel like that's what we're going to get. And I don't want that, because that, like, I don't want us to have motivational speeches where we learn more about the characters than 66 episodes could have given to the characters. So it'll be worse than the Apocalypse fight. Which was, yeah. So that's my main low light, which is just, like, they didn't even, like, half explain the adoptive
They didn't
parents.
even acknowledge that Koshiro has a backstory to reveal.
They didn't even acknowledge that he has parents. Like,
Sora hasn't thought about hers in like 40 episodes.
as I said before, none of these characters, except for Mimi, have addressed that they have parents in the last, like, 40 episodes or so. Like, that's about when they came back from, well, like, episode 25
ever
was the
since
terrible
Burger
one where they're
Jack
falling.
was never seen again.
Yeah.
Yamato
Burger
and
Jack
Taichi
was
are
the
brothers,
highlight.
But no one else has any family.
Yeah. Because the
Takeru.
siblings got to
What
come
did I say?
too.
Did I say
Taichi.
Taichi? Damn it! Ah!
Close enough.
I got what you meant. I got what you meant. But yeah, so, like, that's my main low light, and that's, like, something that really hurt this episode. Like, it was a fine episode. Like, I did actually really enjoy this episode, but primarily my low light is just, like, it's episode 59, and they reference these things. So either, one, I'm right, and they are just going to be shoving it into, like, a group montage motivational speech moment where it's just really short and not done terrifically, or the writers just forgot and are never getting to it ever again. It was just like, it might have just been a nod for the old people who are watching.
God,
I unironically think they just forgot that they even dropped that.
Yeah, I mean, that was also like, that was just after the COVID break. But they could have, like, had that all planned, and then this part maybe they didn't have. I mean, we can't speculate how the development cycle went, but I wouldn't be surprised
we
if...
just won't be right.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I mean, but yeah, that's basically, I want to say my only low light about this episode is the fact that we didn't get that. I know it seems kind of petty to grade an episode, like, worse because I didn't get something that I wanted, but I don't see how, like,
They're
why
running
they
out of
would have
chances
referenced
to do
it.
something good, and they really dropped the ball.
Yeah, that they could have, if they continued, like, I know that we had some good ratings back in, like, episode, the mid-40s. We were giving, like, 5s. And same with the
They had a good
mid-30s.
stretch
We were giving, like,
not
5s.
long ago.
And I feel like during that time we were saying, if this continues to be good like this,
I mean, you
this
say
show
that
can still be
any
the
time
best.
there's a good episode.
Yeah, but it never happened. Like, at this point, the series is just okay. Like, I feel like at this point, for me, it's probably as good as the original adventure. But while original adventure had, like, a lot of mediocre episodes, and this one just had a lot of bad episodes, but also a lot of good episodes. But it was never, like, mediocre. So I feel like it's still sitting near adventure, and I feel like that's as good as we're going to get.
Yeah.
It'll just either get worse, where it's just like, this is worse than original adventure, or it'll be as good as original adventure. But that's basically, those are my thoughts. Do we have any more lowlights?
I already rattled all mine off.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything I haven't pretty well hit, and I won't beat this dead horse any further.
Okie dokie, the dead horse hopefully is Taichi. Anyway, so
Well, that
before we
horse
move
I'll
on
keep beating
to...
as long as you like.
Oh, yes. Well, before we move on to our favourite character, we'll head into Evie's evals. So Evie has sent through her notes. So for her thoughts, she says this was fun. And she says she much prefers Koshiro solving riddles to Taichi being on screen. The Mega felt a bit easy due to the fact that there were basically no development or character conflict to resolve, though. But that's just the series in a nutshell. And yet, I would agree. Like, it was fun, and it was nice to see, riddles happen, and Taichi was kidnapped. But yeah, that is a show in a nutshell, as Evie said. For favourite character, we'll go through ours. So I said Tentomon, but sometimes, like, I keep on just wanting to choose Nanomon, so have either of y'all chose Nanomon?
I did not.
Yeah, so I'm going to boldly speak for both myself and Quinn, given the pattern over the past, 11, like every episode I've been on.
Yep.
And say that I speak for both of us when I say our favorite character was Rust Jigsawmon, aka Nanomon.
That is Nanomon then. Okay, and Quinn was
Am I correct?
Was Chloe right?
I am actually going with After Effects Chan.
How dare you?
Oh, okay, I will write that in.
Dare you?
After Effects Chan and Jigsaw Chan for Chloe. I guess since Nanomon was technically chosen, I guess I'm
Nanomon
going
is a good
Tentomon,
choice,
but
and probably what I'd put that in as if you're not going to be an Axel World weeb.
I'll
You
choose.
made me like this, Quinn.
I'll see what Evie says. Okay, Evie says Nanomon because Nanomon's voice was cute after being freed. Also, they're in Digimon World 2003, and I always be like that. Oh no, it just says I always like that, but my brain just put in I always be like that, but also I always be like that. So, okay, I will choose Tentomon because Evie has chosen Nanomon. So I feel like I'm happy with that because Tentomon got love and Nanomon got love, and so did After Effects Chan, which is what matters really in the end.
Hey, After Effects was vital to this plot. If editing that video had taken any longer, then something non-specifically bad would have happened.
Too bad we couldn't do something with, like, the evolution sequence, but whatever, that happens. So for rating, I gave it, like, a positive 3, which, I mean, it sounds like the alternative was a negative 3. No, I mean, like, I feel like it could have gone worse than a 3, but I gave it a 3 of just, like, I didn't hate the episode, and I feel like any dislike I had towards the episode was because I was annoyed that they didn't address the parents thing, which it's not like I had a theory and that I'm salty that I was wrong about the theory. It's because the show put in something and then didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, like, it is very clearly canon that Koshiro is adopted, and yet we don't care that much, and it doesn't matter to Koshiro except for the one time when he was clearly not ready to talk about it with his friends yet, so it must matter somewhat.
Yeah, which is just... I wish it didn't be like that, but it did be like that. So yeah, I gave it a 3. Quinn, what are you giving this episode?
I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
That's fair. I almost gave it like a 2.75. I'm like, oh no, that's too much. I'll give it a 3. Chloe, what are we giving it?
I think I'm also going to go for a 3.
That's fair. And for Evie says 3.5. So we're kind of all just sort of sitting like
pretty middle of the
in the
road.
middle.
Yeah.
And that means this episode got a 9, and yes, we did give a 9, and that was for episode 26, which I just know of that as the episode after the terrible one that I hate. So I don't know what that means for us. Let me find that. What? Oh no, that's the Breakthrough the Sea Monster Barricade one. So that was the one where the show like decided to explain Vor to us because it was going to be like referenced in the next 20 episodes.
Yeah, what happened to the Vor arc? I feel like we haven't seen any Vor recently.
Well, we went like we did Vor, we did Studio Ghibli, then we did Evangelion, then we did Vor, and then we did Evangelion again. And now I think they've forgotten that Vor exists, thankfully.
Yeah,
I go for
except for this
Cycle Theory of
episode.
Digimon, where we go back to Vor before the end.
we absolutely are going to, yes.
The Great Catastrophe is just being eaten. Anyway.
Like, unironically, I think we will call back to the Vor as being part of the Great Catastrophe or something. Yeah. We're gonna try and give some kind of poignant lesson about evolution.
Yeah. So, I don't know, is this episode better or worse than the Seedramon Vor episode? Because I did like that Seedramon was in it.
I would say this was probably worse than that, I think.
Yeah, so that means that it is slotting in at 42nd place.
Interesting.
Which is not good for, like, the end part of the show. So that's episode 59. So 42 out of 59. Not too good. In terms of my ranking, I put it in 34th place. So just below episode 7, That Man Joe Kado, and just above last week's episode, because I feel like this was a little bit better than last week's episode.
I would agree.
But I feel like I was more upset with this episode, but overall, I liked it, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
Quinn, where are we putting this episode?
I think I'm going to put it above episode 3 and below 57.
Okie dokie. So between episode 57 is Contact from the Catastrophe, where we didn't learn anything. And, that was the Algamon episode. For some reason I thought the Crest one was... No, yes. Okay, told you. Brain was fried. Not doing the brain thing anymore. So that means it is in 38th place in Quinn's rating. And then for Evie's, 25th place, just below last week because there was no Patamon. So I had 25th place. So, cool. So that is between, for Evie, episode 58, Hikari New Life, which was last week's, and episode 44, Hikari in the Moving Forest. So those two fairly related episodes, actually. And, yep, I'll put that in there. And before I move on to the YouTube comments, do we have any miscellaneous thoughts or points that we want to mention that we forgot to mention or just want to touch on again?
Nah.
Whatever happened to skipping all the interstitial evolutions? I swear that there have been times where we've just evolved straight to N-1 Mon, where N is the new evolution this week, without going through all the steps along the way, but
I don't know.
Do that this time.
This
Am I
show
just
hasn't...
crazy?
I think I'm sorry. In this case, you're crazy.
Damn it.
Because
Well,
other
it's just been an
seasons
app
have
on it.
had...
There have definitely been seasons that did that, but this is not one.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the original
I wish it
adventure,
were.
they had something called Warp Evolution, where they went from child/rookie, which was, Agumon, straight to Wargreymon, so Mega, in, like, one evolution.
But only if you were Tyromat.
Yeah, because the other kids didn't... Well, in the PSP game, they got to Mega, all of them.
Well, that's good.
And also... Angemon in the Digimon movie Warp Evolved, but he only skipped one level in that Warp Evolution. So Warp Evolution is just skipping any levels in one evolution. But yeah, that's the thing. Any other thoughts about the episode?
It's not about the episode, but instead of slide evolution, I want there to be a cha-cha evolution.
I
Or
want a
what
ladder
was-
evolution.
I want the Tango evolution,
Ladder's joke.
so I get more health. Anyway, so for the comments on YouTube, first up, Grey Tanuki says that with the episode, they realised that this show has pulled off making returning to places previously visited nostalgic. And yep, same with this episode. They say they really enjoyed seeing the Petalgemon Forest again, and they think that it was a reasonable job that was done with the limited animation in the episode. The lighting effects seemed to heighten where the visuals were lacking, and it was enough to carry the action through. And I would actually, I kind of like, I was kind of on the fence with the pink and the grey, but yeah, I feel like it did make the pink pop, and it did make, Hikari that going not homeostasis kind of pop, so that's fine. They then say that there were small touches that they loved, like the silhouette of Bellucciamon appearing and the new shots of the Digivice bubble to basically confirm the implied shield that the children have had throughout the series. And yeah, but I feel like we've only ever had it for Hikari. We've had it like a few times in this show, but it's only been for Hikari. So I'm never sure if it's just like a Crest of Light thing or if it's just a thing that happens to everyone, but we've only seen Hikari have it for some reason. I don't know. Then they say, lastly, they were really happy to see Solomon in the series, and yeah, totally agree. Solomon is so funny because it has always been one of those designs that they think about when they think about the absurdity of Digimon. And yeah, he's just Bakemon, but this time with a hat. It's
love
like
it.
the Malibu Stacy with a hat sort of thing, but it's Bakemon, and he's wearing a hat. It makes me happy. Next, we have TGS, who says that they're giving that episode, so episode 58, with a 2 out of 5. They liked it, it's fine, but it feels similar to the Shogun Gekomon episode. It feels like it should have been a full Mega Revolution episode. They do feel like they're having the kids return to places in past episodes to follow up on past storylines. Yep, that's what they're doing, sort of here, but we don't... Like, Grand Kuwagumon's not mentioned to be, like, an evolution of the Kuwagamon that we fought in that episode at all, so...
Yeah, we don't care
I
enough
thought we were doing
about that Kuwagamon to remember.
I thought that's what we were
Kuwagamon was
doing.
even in that
Like,
episode.
I thought they were going to have beef, like they did in that episode, but nope. Anyway, they then say that it feels like they're trying to give each kid a mini-season, and if you put the character focus episodes together, also poor Angelmon, this was probably the most brutally one-sided fight that they can remember in Digimon, and like, yeah, it happened a lot in Frontier, but definitely in Adventure. They then say that they just realised they have yet to see Plotmon or much of the baby and in-training Digimon, which is a shame, because they'd like to see Tailmon's baby form finally. and Baby One form, which is just like, I hate to disappoint you, but the Baby One form of Tailmon is just Snow Bottomon, which is just a Bottomon but white. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint. It's just Bottomon, but this time they made her white.
Plotmon,
It
however,
happened.
is pretty adorable.
Yeah, I like Plotmon because it's a puppy dog, and it kind of
Little
like
puppy with a holy ring collar.
Yeah, and like I have a new puppy, so I'm like, yay, puppies,
Helen
yay!
St. Petro has not lost the Plotmon.
They've definitely lost the Plotmon. Anyway, next up, and I think last up, we have Little Red Riding Hood, who says they mostly enjoyed the episode, but they may be a bit biased as they really do like Hikari and her updated design in the series. Yeah, I love her design in the series. It's probably my favorite of the updated clothes, because this is absolutely what I would wear. Like, as an 8-year-old. Like, it's just really cute. I love this design. Like, meanwhile, we have Mimi, who just changed the colour of her hat to not be coordinated, or as coordinated. Yeah, she got a new hat. She's like Solmon. And then they say that, however, the bad animation and lack of clear purpose to this episode really brought it down. And this is the one episode that they would have tolerated Tai, because he and Hikari are supposed to have strong bond as siblings, but then they barely interacted, so his inclusion felt meaningless. Then they say that it's also a bit strange that they're doing this. The old place, everyone's referencing the old places that we visited in the digital world and how they've changed. And then they wonder how much time has passed in the digital world, and they say that they feel like we're missing an arc where they leave and then come back. And I'm like, I mean, I feel like we're missing an arc, but we also got more arcs than I care about. Like, why do we have...
Ain't that the truth?
Like, why do we have the Debbie
It really
Monarch?
does feel like we're supposed to infer that a great deal of time has passed since the episode where we were here last, and I mean, I don't remember how many episodes ago that was, but it wasn't that many.
What, you mean the last episode or this episode?
Either of them. In particular, the Pedaldramon episode was not very long ago, so the nostalgia felt a little forced.
Just bear with me. I'll find it in Eevee's charts. Okay, so episode 44 was Hikari in the Moving Forest, so Pedaldramon episode, and episode 58 was Hikari New Life. So that is 14 episodes between that. At least
I was around for Pedaldramon episode.
Yeah, and that feels like not very long to be like, gosh, it's been so long, everything's changed.
Yeah,
like,
If I've seen it,
Yeah.
it's not that long ago.
And for perspective, this episode, where we are mentioning we came from, that we were last here, was episode 14. So that is, like, 45 episodes ago? My brain no word.
Yeah, and yet nothing changed.
And nothing changed, and we didn't get the parents referencing, but I mean, if you want to hear me rant about that more, as I said, like, I'm not your dad, but watch my videos, please. Alright everyone, so thanks for watching or listening, depending on how you do, and you can join us next time for episode 60, Vikemon Ventures the Glaciers. So how are we predicting that Taichi will show up this time?
I think he's gonna build a raft out of logs and skate in on it, possibly while jumping a Sharkmon of some sort.
I think he's just going to be on an iceberg.
I think he's just going to literally show up in shorts and a t-shirt in the middle of the snow and be like, "Hey, here I am. How about fancy running into y'all here?"
He's gonna sneeze once.
like-
So you know it's cold.
no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's how anime do. But jokes aside, like, I am actually looking forward to the next episode because I love Olegmon. Because Olegmon's probably part of one of my favorite episodes in Digimon Cross Wars, because they just go, "Guapa guapa, viva Olega!" And they're just, like, he just makes them become, like, super fans of his, and it's just, I really like Olegmon. And then he turns out to have a character. And so they gave a character, and that's really nice. So I can't wait to be disappointed next week, basically.
I mean, the animations kind of looked cool in the preview.
The animations always look cool in the preview. Do not
got a
be
point.
distracted by that.
That's fair. I won't be lured by their siren song.
No, it's the siren song of the glacier. So yeah. I don't really have that many predictions other than just like, oh, can Olegmon be good? I love Olegmon so much.
We deserve a good episode as a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like, and also like Joe episodes. Oh, never mind. We weren't really big fans on the Onsen one. I was like saying, yeah, the Joe episodes are pretty good, but then I realized no, it's just episode 15 that was
Joe
good.
episode that was the hamburger thing, though, right?
Oh yeah,
That
the
one was
That
pretty
was
yeah
good. I liked that one.
that one is 10th on my list.
Yeah. It's
So
good.
yeah, on my list, Zudamon's Iron Hammer of Lightning, which was the Zudamon debut, is 7th on my list, and Jagamon's Potato Hell is 10th on my list.
Those
And
are both
overall,
solid.
overall,
Those
it's
are
like
fries. That's what it was.
yeah, episode 15 is like is 5th on our list. So Joe episodes can be good, maybe. And the Potato Hell is 15th on our overall list. So I guess like yeah, okay, Joe
That's
can
solid.
have some good episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any other predictions?
I'm gonna be real mad at Rapist Mom.
Yep.
I hope that. I mean, I kind of realized he was there when I saw the preview, but I didn't like register it until like y'all said it before, and I was like, oh no,
Yep.
oh no. No, that's uncomfortable. Hopefully he redeems himself. But like, I'm looking forward to Gomamon. Gomamon's always great. Like, prediction, I will choose Gomamon as my favorite character. Also, I like Vikemon. He has pants now. Any other predictions?
I'm gonna go sleep.
Me too. I'm going to probably see if Freya needs to go outside, and then I'm going to make sure that she goes back to sleep and love her because she's very small. She is very cute. She's like 9 weeks old and full of like bite.
Baby.
Like, her hobby includes just like finding where to bite that will not be fun for me. I love her though. Anyway, so the link dump's linked in the description, and by the way, I posted a photo of Freya to the Twitters yesterday, so if any of y'all want to see my very small little puppy dog, she's a standard Schnauzer and I love her. Anyway, so Redbubble's also linked in the description, and you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us and send us spam at lostintranslation@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode on our website or on YouTube. You can also follow Snap Translationmon on Twitter, where you can also see a photo of Freya the dog. And you can also find us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube, where you should watch my videos, please. And you can also chat with us on the Lost in Translation on Discord server. We also have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a red thread in the Digimon subreddit. And we would appreciate it if you were to review us on any podcast listening catcher that you use. And if I find it, I'll read it out on the show. If I don't find it, please point it out and I will find it. You can also donate to the Patreon, and that's linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to the Patreon-only areas of our Discord server, but there are high levels of more rewards, such as unedited and early episodes and more, so check that out. And of course, thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Joe, Stephen Reeves, who's Wild64 on Archive Our Own, Kadawashi, Chisai, who you can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobu, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Kyle, Lismet, who's Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Metal Mamimon, Sam, Anthony, Keith from Gone While Hunting, a Hunter Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, Jason105, Patrick, Jason, and Grey Tanuki. You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which can be found in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon, or you can also donate to my coffee account, ko-fi.com/Airdra. And I think I did pretty okay considering my head thought, brain empty, no thoughts. I think those were words there, I'm assuming. So, of course, thank you so much for y'all for listening. And, of course, thank you to Quinn and Chloe, and, of course, the thoughts of Evie for joining me this time. Quinn, can we find you anywhere?
Nah.
Discord, you're howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon.
That sounds lovely. I wish I were doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a My Little Pony fan song.
Okay.
And, Chloe, can we find you anywhere?
I'm around on Discord.
Howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon?
Not if it's a My Little Pony thing.
Not if it's a My Little Pony thing. It's constantly in my head. I separate it from being a My Little Pony fan song because it's just such a bop.
Okay.
But it's like the person who did it also did like the Dog of Wisdom song and a bunch of other songs.
Dog of Wisdom.
I think about the Dog of Wisdom a lot. Anyway, so, and of course, Evie you can find on the Moncast, but you can also find most of us on the Moncast as well. Occasionally, the thoughts of Chloe. So that's basically it. I want to go to bed, and I'm sure y'all also want to go to bed. So I guess we will see y'all next time. Bye, and happy Odaiba Day. Bye.